Less than 2 weeks to go till opening day. And the Mets hitters are hoping that the heat of Florida that has heated up their bats can translate up north. Mets have been crushing it in the preseason. At Tradition Field in Port St. Lucie, the New York Mets play the Houston Astros. Spring training on SNY is presented by Citi. And a pleasant good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Port St. Lucie. Gary Cohen, Keith Hernandez with you today as the Mets play the Astros. The Mets are averaging almost 6 runs per game this spring. They brought in a new hitting coach in the offseason, Kevin Long. Whether it's coincidence or not, the Mets' bats have been raging hot.
Well, a lot of it is, like Yogi said, 90% half mental. And Kevin Long has brought a little positive thinking here. Curtis Granderson, of course, is having a great spring. You look at the team numbers. They scored 12 runs yesterday, the 4th time they've been in double digits this year in scoring. All good. Things that are important to Sandy Alderson, you look at the on-base percentage. They're leading there, batting average, and runs per game. So they've been clicking, and hopefully they carry it through to April.
Well, Kevin Long was the one offensive addition for the Mets. The other was Michael Kadire, and Kadire could not look better this spring as well.
Well, I said in the last ball game that I saw, and he hit a home run yesterday, 5 home runs this spring, and he was brought here from Colorado. He's on Friday he'll be 36 years old. He's here to hit behind David Wright in that order to bolster the order. He's having a terrific swing. I can see by his stroke he's got a nice level swing. He's been almost too raging hot. I'd like to see him kind of cool down a little bit. Don't want to waste any more hits down here in Florida.
Don't leave the hits with the palm trees. So Kadire with 5 home runs, including 3 in the last 4 games, leading the Mets offense. On the mound this afternoon for the Mets is Dylan G. Yesterday, Bartolo Colon was named the Mets opening day starter. Last year, Dylan G was the opening day starter, but after being wavered back and forth, he'll be in that 4th or 5th spot come opening day.
Well, with Zach Wheeler getting Tommy John surgery, Dylan G, nice to have him around. He's a perfect guy to come in and take over that spot in the rotation, and he's going to be the guy. He's a 2-time double-digit winner for the Mets. Last year had the missed around 2 months of the season, and he never really came back and got in the groove. Dylan's always been a guy who's not overpowering. He wins with tenacity and spunk.
And he'll go up against the former Met Colin McHugh this afternoon for the 2nd time this spring. McHugh had a great finish to his season with the Astros last year. It's the Mets and the Astros. Spring training. 2 weeks to go. All the action coming your way today on SNY. York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Lexus. The Lexus Command Performance Sales Event now through March 31st. See your Lexus dealer. By Citi, proud sponsor of the New York Mets. By Cayman Islands, a world away, just 4 hours from JFK. And by Land Rover, visit your local certified pre-owned Land Rover tri-state retailer. Opening day against the Phillies is Monday, April 13th. The best way to secure opening day seats is with the purchase of a Mets full 40-game or 20-game ticket plan. For more information, go to Mets.com/opening day. Today's pitchers brought to you by Land Rover. Dylan G gets the start today. We should see Jerry's Familia. Zach Thornton, who all of a sudden is on the radar as a potential member of the opening day roster, and Buddy Carlisle likewise. They will all be pitching today behind Dylan G, who gets the start today. His third start of the spring as he makes that transition from forgotten man to important part of the rotation. Tradition Field, Port St. Lucie, Mets and Astros, first pitch coming right up.
This Easter,
The Toyota starting lineup for the Houston Astros, and the Astros have brought most of their regulars here. They left Evan Gattis behind. He's had a sore wrist, but came back yesterday, hit a home run. But most of these guys will be in the opening day lineup for the Astros, including Jose Altuve, who had .341 last year with 225 hits, and the UConn grad George Springer, who had a terrific first half year in the major leagues.
Excuse me, there's Dylan G. You see his numbers in 5 games. And remember, he was starting the spring training in the bullpen. But since Wheeler went down, he is now the man that's going to be in the rotation, and rightly so. Having himself a decent spring, coming off a really good outing last time. 3 2/3 scoreless. And we'll take a look at your Lexus Metsy defense. And Dendecker and Neuenhuis getting a look today. Looks like Neuenhuis has got a lock on that 4th outfield position. Up the middle, pay attention today, folks. Reynolds and Muno with Murph with the hamstring. Then you see Manel behind the plate. He's got himself, 4 home runs this spring. But the 2 guys up the middle, Reynolds and Muno, are fighting for that middle infield spot if Murph can't answer the bell.
Jose Altuve hitting .387 this spring. What else is new? First pitch by G is a fastball for a strike. Altuve just 24 years old and has already had himself quite a start to his career.
Well, batting champ, led the league in hits, stolen bases.
Already a two-time All-Star. He's DHing today, regular second baseman for the Astros, who improved by 19 games this year. 19-game improvement got them all the way to 70 wins after they had averaged 108 losses over a 3-year span before last season. And they just missed inside.
They were a team that got better as the year went on. They started building in confidence.
A.J. Hinch, the new skipper of the Astros, former Diamondbacks manager. And this is a franchise that's gone through a plan over the last 5 years, and they had to absorb a lot of pain. They basically traded away every veteran they had, rebuilt their farm system, started from scratch, and they're hoping this is the year that it starts to pay benefits. Breaking ball bounced foul.
Well, Jeff Luhnow came over from the Cardinals, who ran the farm system there. Was one of the big reasons why the Cardinals kept on moving players up from the minor leagues. Well, he's now the general manager here, and you're starting to see the results of the new administration. Oh, that's 3 tough years right there.
You think? Reynolds circling in, and the throw on a hop handled by Duda to get the speedy Altuve for the first out of the day.
Well, every play is important for the two middle infielders. Reynolds right there making the play. He plays shortstop and second, as does Muno. So they're both in there. They're both trying to make the ball club. Muno hit a home run yesterday. One's a left-hand hitter. The other one's a right-hand hitter.
Both have swung the bat well this spring. Here's George Springer. Springer burst on the scene last year. Just 295 at bats, hit 20 home runs.
231 batting average and a lot of strikeouts. This is the team that strikes out a lot. We see that it's becoming really kind of the norm.
Last year they struck out 1,442 times, the Astros, which was not even a record. They had set the major league record the previous year with 1,535 team strikeouts, and with the addition of Evan Gattis, who's a high strikeout guy, they might even best that this year. And I guess the question is the trade-off of home runs for strikeouts, which the Astros apparently are comfortable with.
What you've got to take into consideration if you're the general manager of the Astros.
Another chance for Reynolds with the big hop. 2 down.
You've got to take into consideration the fact that you're playing in one of the smaller ballparks. You're going to hit home runs there. That left field porch is ridiculous, and the ball carries out of right field. The only deep part of the ballpark is center field.
Well, here's one way to look at it. Last year, the Astros were 3rd in the American League in home runs, but only 14th in runs scored. So the home runs did not necessarily translate into better offense. They're hoping Luis Valbuena will help. He came over as in a trade from the Cubs. They like his on-base percentage. 341 on-base percentage last year, and he's having a terrific spring, hitting .394.
Well, he's 29 years of age. Last, 3-4 years with the Cubs. He's got a decent glove at third base, too, Gare. My observations over the last 4 years with his Chicago years. But really just a journeyman player. 16 home runs last year.
I mean, the Astros didn't make a lot of big splashes as far as their offense, but they made a lot of smaller moves, like Valbuena, like Gattis, Colby Rasmus, who we'll see today. Jed Lowry, they got back to play shortstop. They enhanced their bullpen as well. 3-1, 3-0 pitch is a strike. So it almost feels as though this is the year they've said, okay, we're in position now where we can actually compete. So we're going to make enough moves to bring in veteran guys so we can get near the top of the division. Ball 4 to Valbuena, and he's on with a 2-out walk.
And they're also now in the American League West, and that's one of the tougher divisions in baseball, with California, Seattle, Oakland.
You called them California.
Oh gosh. It's I try to stay current and progressive.
Now, here's the problem with the Angels as Chris Carter steps in. They started out their lives as the Los Angeles Angels.
Right.
Then they became the California Angels. Then they became the Anaheim Angels.
Right.
And now they're the Los Angeles Angels again, but now of Anaheim.
Of Anaheim, which I think is ridiculous.
Of course it's ridiculous. Chris Carter hit 37 home runs last year. But the first base, left field, and DH slots are a little crowded this year for Houston. And so there's been talk about the Astros maybe trading Carter. 3 chances in the inning for Reynolds. He handles the ball. And the Mets come to bat in the bottom of the first with no score. Your Geico Mets starting lineup. Middle infielders Murphy and Flores still out. Mets are hoping to have Flores back soon. Murphy maybe not quite so soon, but hoping to have both back by opening day. So a chance for Muno and Reynolds to show what they got. And the Mets will go up against their former mate, Colin McHugh, for the second time in a week.
Well, Colin McHugh, if you recall, started out with the Mets, went to Colorado, and in those 2.5 years was 0-8. Last year, a breakout year for him. 11 wins. Won his last, 7 decisions?
7 decisions. 7-0, 1.77 over the last 2 months last year. Granderson off to a great spring start, hitting at .452, had 3 more hits yesterday. And, you know, the results speak for themselves, and whether they'll carry over to the regular season, who knows, as the Astros shift. They shifted more times than any team in the major leagues last year. But when you look at Granderson and you look at how he gets ready for the pitch, Keith, what's the thing that most stands out?
Well, the thing we've seen so far, we've had some graphics, Garrett, I mean some video, is that he's got a little smaller takeback, not so much movement on his takeback when the pitch is on its way. A little more crouched, and last year he hit very corkscrew. He was open stance from the waist down. He still is. And then he would turn his back, and it was kind of like at cross purposes. And here's a good side view right here, Gary. He looks a little more comfortable at the plate, and he's swinging the bat great.
So he's not torquing his body as much, is what you're saying.
Right, and his take back is not as much movement.
Here's David Wright.
Well, there you see a little more crouch scare on the right. Can't you see it? Now watch the take back is a little bit less beginning. Watch the take back. Case getting set. Not much at all in the take back, which I like. There's Kevin Long right there. Those two have been together, and you know, a lot of it is positive thinking. Curtis believes in him, and it's a good move to bring Kevin over here, I feel. And Curtis, let's face it, Curtis is an important guy in this ball club.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, Granderson and Wright, these are guys that are the linchpins of your lineup, and you need better from them than what you got last year. 2-2 to David.
Well, I was just mentioning, really the Mets have a potential for 3 comeback players of the year in Granderson, in Wright, and Kadire. Kadire missed almost the whole season last year.
Well, it's not fair to expect that all 3 are going to play at career levels, but if all of them
it could happen,
can accomplish what they're capable of, then you're in a pretty good place offensively.
The immortal words of Joaquin Andujar, you never know.
That's one word. 3-2 coming to David, and a slider in for a call, strike 3. Colin McHugh, who's become a breaking ball pitcher, shows it off there and gets Wright looking for the second out.
Well, this is the front door slider here. Catcher set up inside. It's a breaking pitch. Throw it at the knees, and then it kind of breaks on the inside corner. Actually, I stand corrected. That was a fastball and a very good paint right there. Excellent pitch. And now we'll take a look at your Astro defense. Rasmus Ober from Toronto. As Gary said, Valbuena for the Cubs, Lowry back. And they got a lot of guys that are new to the ball club this year.
It went fast on you there.
But usually I can stutter with the best of them. So fortunately, I wasn't in my staccato form there.
Here's Duda, just 23 at bats this spring, slowed up by the side injury. Was starting to get uncranked. And McHugh falls behind him 2-0.
Well, Lucas missed some time with the oblique. And we've had some obliques this spring. A lot of that seems to be the injury du jour in today's game. It's a little behind. He said it in the paper. He's still a little bit behind. He needs at bats. This is the one guy in the lineup that needs to play every day, Gary.
And playing first base today, Michael Kadire DHing in today's game is on deck. And the Astros again put the full shift on against Duda. Not the 4 men on one side of the infield that we saw once against Duda last year, but just 3, and that's enough because the second baseman VR in shallow right field is there to throw him out and give McHugh a 1-2-3 inning. Shift good. No score after 1. It's a very artistic shot. What exactly are we looking at?
I bet you it's palm trees that have been chopped.
Oh, that's very sad.
It is. What did he do? They're just out there trying to make a living.
Just an innocent tree. Okay, Danny. Thanks. Jason Castro leading off. Good change up by Dylan G to get ahead of him 0-2. Castro, who was an all-star 2 years ago, had a dreadful season last year and trying to bounce back. He's talked a lot about revamping his mechanics. Said he had to guess on pitches because he wasn't in a position to hit.
How do you revamp
you understand all that stuff.
How do you revamp your mechanics? You are what you are.
I guess he was saying
everybody thinks today that they can revamp.
I guess he was saying he got in some bad habits last year.
Gosh, your swing is your swing. Either you're a 230 hitter or you're a 300 hitter. You are what you are.
But if you have a guy like that who hit 270 the year before, he had 220 last year, went from being an all-star to being an offensive liability, you got to do something, right?
Will the real Jason Castro please stand up?
Well, we'll find out, right?
Right? That's what they said about me in 1980, believe it or not. Oh, little rip.
See, his mechanics are all revamped and ready to go. Castro with a leadoff hit, the first hit for either side.
Fastball. Left-hander up, too much up. Dylan mentioned, Gary, and you mentioned it to me, when he gets too much 3/4, his ball flattens out, and that's what happened there. He wants to get more on top, get more of that sink.
Now Jed Lowry, who's back with the Astros after 2 years in Oakland.
I'm very sensitive to that. Will the real, Jason Castro stand up here?
Out in left center, Neuenhuis runs it down and back to first Castro. Now, who said that about you?
Rick Hummel. The illustrious Rick Hummel in St. Louis.
This is after you won the MVP?
Yeah, the next year, because I had a 77, I had a breakout year. 78, I hit 250, I had a terrible second half. 79, I lead the league in hitting, had them a big year. So he goes into spring training and says, "Look, he's been hot, cold, hot, cold. Will the real Keith Hernandez stand up?" And guess what I did? I hit 323, 321. I did stand up.
So what Rick was saying going into the season was Colby Rasmus steps in, is that you were like the latter-day Giants,
yes,
who are good every other year.
And it was legitimate, but I was very.
But you broke the mold.
I was 25. I was very sensitive then.
And now,
water off my back, literally.
1-1 to Rasmus. Rasmus signed as a free agent in January. Started out with the Cardinals as a highly touted first-round draft pick. Flashed with Tony La Russa. Went to Toronto. Had a really good year with the Jays 2 years ago. He had 18 home runs last year, but just 225. Much like Castro, he had an off year last year. And he rips one down the line. Foul.
So Dylan's up right now against the left-handers, and he can get away with that against righties, Gary, because he's got that fastball that bores into right-handers. But when you're up against left-handers and you're a right-hand pitcher and you're up, the ball running away stays flat and up in the strike zone. It's nice to hit. He's got to stay down.
This is Dylan's 6th outing of the spring, just his 3rd start. Went 3 2/3 against the Astros last Thursday. That's the deepest he's gone. And that one caught Johnny Manel, the catcher. It's got to be awfully difficult when you, as we'll get the last foul ball.
Change up
toe. It's got to be awfully difficult from Dylan's standpoint. He came to camp, was told he's going to be a reliever, and then Zach Wheeler goes down and the plan changes, and mid-stride you go from trying to do something you've never done before, right, and now have to stretch your arm out and get back in the rhythm and be a starter the first week of the season.
Well, the worst case scenario would be that you're in the rotation and you lose the job and have to adjust to being in the bullpen, something you're not used to. That would be the worst case scenario. Dylan will seamlessly go right back into what his normal groove is, what he's used to.
Well, let's be honest, though. There's every chance that sometime during the season he might be asked to go to the bullpen if the Mets decide that Syndergaard or somebody else is ready to go. Base hit for Rasmus, and the Astros have 2 men on. By the way, I talked to Zach Wheeler today. He is scheduled to have his Tommy John surgery tomorrow with Dr. David Altchek in New York, and he looked very confident, and I think he knows exactly what's ahead of him. He's talked to a lot of people who've had the surgery, who've done the rehab, and he's very optimistic. I'm certainly disappointed in missing the year, but he knows what lies ahead.
Well, he's got to get it repaired. It's pretty severe. And we wish Zach all the best and all the best of luck.
Those two guys can both counsel him on what it's like to do the rehab. Harvey and DeGrom have both been through it. Here's Jonathan VR playing second base today, and he takes a slider for a strike. VR trying to make this team as a utility man. He's never played anything but shortstop in the big leagues. They're playing him at second base today. He might be on the outside looking in. He's just 23 and 263 big league at bats last year. Those may be tough to come by. Nice hop grab by Duda, and he gets the out at first. That was not an easy play. And he gets the second out as the runners move up.
They take a funny bounce. Oh, he came in a little, tried to get the short hop. You'd like to see a potential to take the double play here, but at least get the lead runner. But he's off balance there in his rush to get that short hop.
Well, what's his option there, Keith? If he lays back, there's no way he's getting a double play.
No way, but you can assuredly, if you get the long hop, you can get the force. You want to keep a force open at second. Not now. You got two runners in scoring position.
There's Jake Marisnick batting ninth in the order, the former Marlin. And he fouls one off the right side. Marisnick came to the Astros last year at the trading deadline on the deal that sent Jared Cosart to Miami.
Another guy that strikes out a lot. He only had 173 at bats last year with the Astros and struck out 48 times. That's an awful lot.
Castro at third, Rasmus at second with two down. No score in the second. Well, it was a great deal for the Marlins, I thought. They have such a stacked outfield. And that one hits him, and Marisnick is aboard, and the bases are loaded.
Well, that's something you don't want to do because you got the reigning American League batting champion coming up. Fastball ran in, got him on the back forearm.
So a couple of hits and a hit by pitch. Load the bases behind G with two down, and now contend with Altuve, who grounded out to short to lead off the game. The Mets have announced their first three starters. Trainer's going to come out and have a look at Marisnick after he got plunked.
Well, he's going through a bunch of antics over there. I guess the days of never letting the pitcher know he hurt you are over.
I was going to say the Mets have named their first three starters for the series in Washington to begin the year. It'll be Colon on opening day, and then DeGrom and Harvey. They have not said yet who will pitch 4 and who will pitch 5. It'll be Neese and G in some order for that second series in Atlanta.
I got to think you're going to want to throw a left-hander in there just to mix up the righty-righty, the three straight righties.
So now bases loaded, two down, and here's Altuve.
Well, Altuve is a guy that doesn't walk very much, only walked 36 times last year. He's a swinger.
Well, if you can get 225 hits in a year.
Well, if you don't walk, when you hit 340, you're going to get well up there.
I mean, even with not walking, a 377 on base average, that'll play. And G gets ahead of him 0-2.
Go on, Tuvi.
By the way, in that first series in Washington, the Mets are going to face Max Scherzer opening day, Jordan Zimmerman the second game, and maybe Steven Strasburg the third if Strasburg's ankle is better by then.
Well, it doesn't really matter with that starting five, right?
Smothers it, throws out Altuve, side retired. G works around trouble in the second. A candidate to play some second base for the Mets early in the season, shows off the defense. A mere 78 degrees in Port St. Lucie today. Beach, tiki bar, all good options. Michael Kadire leads off the second, takes a strike from Colin McHugh. Kadire hit his 5th home run of the spring yesterday. There you see the sun beaming down on the berm. I have never seen the berm more crowded than it was for that game.
The Yankees
here over the weekend.
Why wouldn't it be?
I mean, it was like Jones Beach on a 95-degree day.
Well, that's a stretch. It's more bathing suits at Jones Beach. It's 95 degrees.
Kadire toward the line. That'll be one hop to the wall and over for a ground rule double. And so Kadire just keeps on raking. His 9th extra base hit already this spring.
Well, he's red hot, and I said in the open, don't want to waste any more down here. You might want to pull the rein. If you're the manager, pull the reins, give him a couple days off, maybe sprinkle in a couple at bats and get him out. Let him take his BP on the side. Talking about Kadire, of course. He is raging hot, just looks perfectly ready to, probably wishes it was April 6th.
Now, what you said when we opened up today is you said you'd like to see him cool down. You didn't really mean that.
Not cool down, but I was a better explanation right here. I get real nervous on the open. Sometimes I misspeak.
Even after all these years. Neuenhuis floats one down the line foul.
So
he's grabbing the bullpen.
I know that when I would go to Davey as a veteran and tell Davey I was swinging the bat good with a week and a half left. I would just say, Dave, hey, I don't want to waste any more here. He'd know. Give me 2 at bats, get me out. After you've built your stamina to play 9 innings, of course.
Now let's just talk about this in theory. Do you believe that you have a finite number of hits?
Yes.
And that you would be wasting them if you got them in Florida?
I do, yes. I've seen too many guys have great springs, and the season starts, they start to slump. But then again, I'm kind of a negative kind of guy, cynical. If I was a positive thinker like people I played with then I would be, but this is going to be, I can go ahead. This is my year. I'm going to have 5 months of 300.
You thrived off fear of failure.
Yes, I did. I always had a fear. I was always nervous in RBI situations, always.
And yet you thrived.
It was like my back was against the wall and I had only one recourse. That was to come out swinging.
Fight or flight.
Yep.
Like a cornered animal.
Yes, there you go. You listen to me.
Good curveball by McHugh, 1-2. Neuenhuis has had a terrific spring. He's hitting .421.
And looking to see what's different with Neuenhuis. He hits with a very open stance. I see the same swing. He's waiting a little bit longer. His trouble is that he tends to fly the shoulder out, the front shoulder, and gets out in front and can't hit the outside pit. But he's hanging in a little tougher. He strikes out there. He's been keeping that shoulder in a whole lot better this spring.
Second strikeout from McHugh, setting up the fastball with the curve. And we were talking about McHugh earlier and how he's become a breaking ball pitcher. Last year he threw his fastball 40% of the time, which is an extremely low number. When we saw him with the Mets, he had that curveball, but it wasn't refined. He gave up a lot of home runs with that curveball during his time with the Mets. Here's Muno, and he takes the curveball for a strike. But he's tightened up the curve. He's developed his slider, and he was encouraged to use those pitches more. And he'll tell you that's why he enjoyed success the second half of last year.
157 strikeouts last year, and 154 2/3.
I mean, consider that in his major league career before he got to Houston last year with the Mets and with the Rockies, he had made 15 appearances, 9 starts, and in that time he was 0-8 with an 8.94 ERA. So just off statistical analysis,
right,
you would be shocked with what he did last year, and certainly everybody is waiting to see whether Colin can duplicate that this year.
Well, his first win was his first start of the season last year, and that was up in Seattle. You remember, he won the last season 0-8, as Gary just mentioned, and he didn't complete the game. He had 12 strikeouts, and I think he went almost 7 innings. Shutout ball, and he was a 1-0 game. He had to throw shutout ball to get the win.
Well, it's like his first start in the big league. Remember that one with the Mets back in 2012? He pitched against the Rockies. Chops one. VR in to get it, double clutches, but throws him out. Kadire goes over to third, 2 out. That game back in 2012, August, McHugh came to the big leagues, 7 scoreless innings, 2 hits, 1 walk, 9 strikeouts, and he got a no decision. That's lost 1-0.
So the wins didn't come easy for him.
But that was, that was his best start as a Met by far. Things kind of went downhill after that. They traded him the next spring for Eric Young, which turned out to be a nice deal for the Mets. The Astros got him on waivers from the Rockies. They had given up on him. Here's Johnny Manel, the catcher, with Kadire at third and 2 out. By the way, it is looking more and more as though Eric Young is going to be the opening day center fielder for the Atlanta Braves.
I hear you. I don't know how that. That's.
And he was a terrific guy. We love watching him play. He plays hard all the time, but I don't think he's a big league center fielder.
He's a corner outfielder, and basically, I think just a left fielder.
Well, with Melvin Upton on the sidelines, I'm really having trouble with that, by the way.
Well, I had the last couple of years he had too. I think I have to change something drastically. He's had 2 really tough years. He got a whole ton of money. I never understood that deal.
He's got 3 years left on that deal. 1-1 to Manel. Down to first base, and Carter boots it, and that'll bring in the first run of the game. Well, Chris Carter is not known for his glove, and he showed why. Kadire comes in to score, and it's 1-0 New York.
Well, let's take a look here. Whenever you got a third out routine ground ball, you just see he didn't have his body squared up. See, he's off in an angle. His back foot behind his front foot. See, right there. You got to be squared up to the ball and get in front. The ball comes up, it hits your chest or your tummy. Inning over.
So a double, a ground out, and an error produce a run. And now Matt Reynolds hitting .379 this spring. And takes a fastball for a strike. The Astros have a lot of options over at first base. They can play Carter there, but they can also play John Singleton.
Gaddis can play first.
And Gaddis can play first as well. Right now, they've been running Gaddis out in left field, and they have a competition out there between him and Rasmus. And that's one of the reasons, as the ball's in the dirt, Manel takes off, and the throw into center field. And I think Manel got kicked in the head.
He's all right.
And Ray Ramirez, the trainer, is going to come out and have a look. It's a wild pitch moving Manel up.
Took his time to throw right here. He looked instead of just coming up throwing. No, he'd be all right.
His helmet right on the knee.
Is it the knee? Yep, you're right. Got a little bit of got wrenched a little bit there, didn't he?
Jonathan VR had the second baseman covering, and that stung.
Well, there's that head first slide. It's always going to get you in trouble.
Terry Collins is out there as well now to have a look at Johnny Manel. And, the awareness these days of concussions makes it mandatory that you go through the protocol here to make sure that nothing untoward has taken place. Saw a bad one on Sunday. The center fielder for the Yankees chasing that inside the park home run by Lagares and hitting the fence. And he's suffering concussion. Juan Perella. But Manel's okay. He'll stay in. He's in second with 2 out. A 1-1 count to Matt Reynolds.
Well, Reynolds, as we've said, had a breakout year last year in the minor leagues. Struggled his first 2 minor league seasons, but had a real terrific year with the batting average in AA, AAA.
At .343 overall with a .405 on base percentage.
Little scrappy player, short swing, compact, line drive hitter. I like him.
The Mets are thinking right now that Daniel Murphy will be ready for opening day, but if he's not, then the thinking is that if they're not going to use Ruben Tejada to start at second base, that they'd rather use Reynolds. But if the Tejada starts, they keep Muno on the roster as a backup because they want Reynolds to play whether he's here or down in Vegas. And the curveball from McHugh strikes him out. Castro makes the toss, side retired. Third strikeout for Colin McHugh. The Mets get an unearned run and lead 1-0 after 2. Third. Springer grounded out to short his first time up. Springer's got the perfect swing for Minute Maid Park for that short porch in left field. Those Crawford boxes.
Dead pull.
20 home runs and under 300 bats last year.
Hey, how about a left-hand hitter that you get inside out it and then you get beat and you can inside out a home run?
He moves him off the plate.
That would be sweet for me. That would be. How many F7s I hit in my career that would have been home runs at that Minute Maid Park?
Fenway.
At least Fenway's got the higher wall. Would have been added onto the doubles.
Yeah, he scraped a few off the fence there. Wade Boggs did that several hundred times.
Yes.
If you'd wanted to hit 380, I don't know if that's something that would have interested you.
380 is it was a little out of my reach. And 340 was as close as I got.
It's nothing to sneeze at.
No, it's not easy.
Springer takes one the other way, and he's got a base hit. That's the third hit off Dylan G. Take a look at this.
I think there is a very distinct, strong competition that's going to go on between them. And it's a great thing, but it's not going to be friendly. They're going to be better than the next guy. They're going to try to be better, and then they're going to talk about it. They kind of talk among each other and get a little cocky with each other. It's a good thing.
It happens naturally. One of the reasons why they're in the big leagues is they're not only talented, they're competitive. One guy goes out in that rotation and pitches a good game, and the next guy says, well, I'm going to do the same thing. And at the end of the year, let's see who puts up the best numbers.
Well, there certainly is going to be plenty of friendly competition within the Mets rotation this year as Springer steals a base.
Almost slid past it, but he did and got back.
Reynolds chasing him, but couldn't get to him in time.
The 25 players on a ball club, the pitchers are more of a fraternity, a club. particularly the starters. It's a prideful thing when you have a good starting five. I mean, I played with probably as good a starting five there ever was in the 80s with the Mets, and they were a group, and they all vie against each other. Who can get the most wins, and that's a good thing, as Terry said right there. It's all good.
Luis Valbuena at the plate with nobody out. Well, that certainly leads to the question about, the announcement yesterday that Bartolo Colon's going to be the opening day starter, and I know a lot of people were up in arms about that. Why not DeGrom? Why not Harvey? Does that kind of stuff matter?
I don't think it matters to the group. The fans can get all riled. That's really not worth the energy. It's wasted energy. I think Colon deserves to be the starting opening day pitcher. He won 15 ball games last year. It's a very highly touted young staff, and guess what? Guy 40 years old had the most wins.
And if anybody's going to have the calm demeanor that you need to get through the opening day hoopla, it's going to be him. To me, what's even more fascinating than the Mets opening day situation is the Nationals. Now they're going to be facing the Nats those first 3 games, and the Nats had a phenomenal pitching staff last year. They added Max Scherzer, which certainly makes them better. And Scherzer gets the opening day spot ahead of Zimmerman, ahead of Strasburg, ahead of Pfister, ahead of Gonzalez. What do you make of that, and how does that affect that group, do you think?
I don't think it's going to affect them. I think the only one that's really like the Maserati over there with that 5-man rotation is Strasburg. He's the one that you got to be careful with. But Strasburg was only 14-11 last year. He was almost a 500 pitcher.
Jamming Valbuena. Reynolds having trouble with the sun and can't make the play. Springer holds at second. A sun-aided base hit for Valbuena.
And he's got sunglasses on, and he's doing everything he can, shielding his eyes. But somewhere, he's got to get that done. It's the major leagues here.
I don't think he ever saw that ball.
He's not helping himself out with the glove. There's no shadow over his eyes with the glove. See, the glove is nowhere. He's already just lost it. So is that an error or a base hit here?
Generally, they give a base hit on a play like that if they feel as though the fielder never saw the ball. I think that was the case there. So 2 on and nobody out. Now Carter, who hit into a fielder's choice his first time, and she comes upstairs, nothing in 1.
2 years ago, when Zimmerman won, was he won 19 games? He's your opening day starter.
But he wasn't. Strasburg started opening day the last 3 years.
But he hadn't. That was the season. He didn't have the year before that. So I think Scherzer's their best pitcher. They got him. He's the big ace for Detroit. He's got numbers to back it up.
Well, you don't give a guy $210 million unless you think he's going to be special for you. I think the Nationals shocked a lot of people when they made that deal, making that kind of commitment to enhance an area that was already so strong for them. But it will certainly make it even more difficult for the Mets and everybody else in the division to contend with Washington.
You've got Gio Gonzalez, who was a 500 pitcher last year, went 10-10 as your 5th starter.
How about Doug Pfister?
Yeah, 16-6.
I know he's had a rough spring this year, but he's a craftsman. He'll be fine. To me, the one concern with the Nats is their bullpen. Losing Clippard and Soriano. Could be 2. Right to Muno, and on to first for the 5-4-3. 2 out. Springer now at third.
Well, there's the importance of the double play, and this is hit hard enough. You've got to turn it. And we know over the years that we've been watching, the Mets have had difficulty turning double plays. That gets a pitcher out of a jam. Big time. First and second, nobody out. All of a sudden, there's only a runner on third with 2. Get a ground ball, you got to get the 2 for your pitcher.
So 2 out, a runner at third, and now Jason Castro, who had a base hit up the middle his first time up.
Well, Gary, getting back to that national rotation, with that move for Scherzer, you had a rookie pitcher that won 15 ball games for you in Tanner Roark, and he's going to be in the bullpen.
Well, they need some help in that bullpen, and Roark at some point might become that 8th inning guy ahead of Drew Strong. don't know if that'll happen from day one. Probably not. But probably more of the 7-inning guy.
I was stunned that they got rid of Clippard. I know that he's thrown 90-plus innings, 4, 5, 6 years in a row, but what does that just mean that he's done? That he's arm weary? I don't think so. I mean, he was a vital cog in that bullpen.
Check swing, and he went around. 1-2. Well, there's the 5 and what they did last year, and it's not a slouch among them.
There's a no-hitter in there too with Zimmerman last year. Not too shabby. Ooh,
still like that sound.
That baseball come. That was a nice slider.
One more time for you, Keith.
Give me a bat. Oh, a nice lazy breaking ball.
Right into your hitting zone. G ahead 1-2, and the breaking ball misses low. 2-2. Well, Dylan G 2 years ago, the last 4 months of the season, was just about unstoppable. Turned his season around with a late May start at Yankee Stadium and was phenomenal after that. Got off to a fine start last year, and then he strained a lat muscle and never really got it together. Skimmed down to first, comes up nicely for Duda, and the side retired. Second straight inning that G's able to tiptoe around trouble. Keeps the Mets in front 1-0 in the third. Partly cloudy skies.
Yesterday was overcast.
A little rain yesterday.
I was going to get some sun yesterday, the off day, and it was cloudy all day. Darn.
Wow.
But it was warm.
It's been a very warm spring.
It sure has.
Matt Den Decker leads off for the Mets in the home third. Den Decker struggling this spring, just 7 for 33, and as was the case last year when he came up, been much more of a contact hitter, and the power which he displayed earlier in his minor league career has kind of dried up.
Well, remember they dropped his hands last year, and when he was called up, was leading the Pacific Coast League in hitting. I felt last year that the Mets could have stuck with him a little longer when they called him up. He had the great start in Philadelphia, if we call it a great series in Philadelphia, hit ropes everywhere. And then they just didn't get, they played him sporadically. I just felt that he should have gotten a better look, given more of an opportunity. That's just my opinion.
Curtis Granderson on deck. Well, the one thing Matt has done this spring, he has been more patient. He's drawn 8 walks. His on-base percentage is high. And, you know, as he strikes out, if he's going to be a big leaguer consistently at some point, he's a guy who you'd like to be able to use as a leadoff hitter. He's a fourth outfielder, play him every once in a while and have him lead off. He can steal a base, but he's got to get on base enough. But he is really on the short end of the rules this year. Not only is he being outplayed by Nieuwenhuis this spring, but as you know, Nieuwenhuis is out of options and Den Decker is not. Here's Granderson, and he takes a strike.
That usually means even if you have a torrid spring and outplay the other guy without the options, you're the one that's going to go down.
Now, Nieuwenhuis is not the only Met who's out of options, but it's really the only one who's in a battle who is. I mean, Wilmer Flores is out of options, but, you know, he's not going anywhere. Ruben Tejada the same, Carlos Torres, Henry Mejia.
How long has that rule been in effect, Gary, out of curiosity?
As long as I can remember. And now they tweak the rules, you know, about when the options start and what age you have to be and all that. But basically, there are 3 years once you're put on the 40-man roster where you can be sent up and down at will. And once those 3 years are done, they have to put you through waivers to send you to the minor leagues.
Yep, those were the days before free agency. And, you know, if you were a very good player, look at that Los Angeles Dodger team that came up late under Lasorda when he took over for Walter Alston. That was Garvey and Davey Lopes and Bill Russell and Ron Say. They all played in Albuquerque with Tommy Lasorda and couldn't get up into that Dodger major league team. And once Alston retired and Lasorda managed the team, he brought them up, and there you had an infield that was one of the best infields in the National League for quite some time.
And that has what to do with the option rule?
This guy's, well, I don't know. I kind of segued, didn't I?
I was just trying to make the connection.
I'm just trying to be entertaining.
Well, you're always entertaining. So effortlessly, too. 3-2 for McHugh, and Granderson takes ball 4. So the Mets have a one-out base runner. First walk given up by McHugh. Let's take a look at the Mets' upcoming schedule presented by WDB Mason. And that is all that is left of spring training. The Mets will be in Tampa tomorrow to take on the Yankees. Won't be back on the air. Won't be back home here until Saturday when we're on Pix 11 with the Mets and Nats. Let's finish up in Florida on the 2nd. And then played 2 games in Arlington, Texas against the Rangers before they open up the season in Washington on Monday the 6th.
The season opening up a week later this season, I think due to the March Madness. I think that's why they're opening up a week late. How late does that go?
Well, last year the national championship game was a week after the baseball season began, but traditionally opening day and the championship game have been on the same Monday, and they're back to doing that this year.
So it's going to go, the season's going to end the first week of October, which means that the World Series is going to go into November. I would be all for with the new tier here. I know it's not going to happen. With the new tier of playoffs, the extra week potentially of playoffs to go back to a 154 game schedule. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. I understand.
It would be great, but the owners, I think, would be loath to give up 8 games of revenue.
Yep. Nice. There you go, Slugger.
Perfect souvenir from a day at the ballpark. 0-2 to Wright, who struck out his first time up. And David hits the curveball in the air pretty well to left. Rasmus back to the warning track, back at the wall. It's out of here. David Wright lofts his 3rd home run of the spring. Got an 0-2 curveball and hit it out. A 2-run shot for Wright. It's 3-0 New York. Well, David's now hit 1 home run to center field, 1 to right field, and his first 1 to left field.
Well, what's big about this, Gary, is David has been bailing on curveballs the last couple years. There's a kind of a hanging breaking ball right there with 2 strikes. Watch the front. Watch him stay in. So that's a very, 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 very good sign.
The Mets' 26th home run. This is their 22nd spring game. And David Wright with his third. The Mets have had the home run ball against McHugh last week. Dyer and Granderson took him deep, and now Wright. And now Judah will take his turn. Lucas grounded out to second base his first time up. I only saw it on TV, Keith. I think you were here for it. The one that Wright hit over the batter's eye in center field.
I think I missed that.
Oh, what a bomb. I mean, nobody hits it over that blue batter's eye, and he crushed it. And to me, that was just a tremendous sign. But look how high that thing is.
Dyer the other day hit one around 10 feet from getting it over.
Right. And then David hit one the other day out to right field, which, you know, that's going to be something people will be keeping an eye on when the Mets convene at Citi Field, with the fences having been moved in somewhat, which should favor both Wright and Granderson. Won't hurt Duda either. Now Lucas has talked about countering shifts this year by taking some balls to left field, trying to boost his batting average that way. Felt as though he had a lot of hits taken away by hitting the ball into the shift last year.
Well, he certainly did.
Certainly he wasn't alone.
A little closer to the plate, get a little more coverage. I talked with Lucas and asked him, you know, what pitch does he like to hit and what pitches does he like the least? And he told me the outside corner, and I said, why? Because I just don't feel I can get a good swing. I said, well, why don't you move closer an inch or two to the plate? And it's 2 more inches of the barrel of the bat out there to cover the outside corner. He should murder that ball into center, left center field. There's not a ballpark that can hold you.
And foul tip held by Castro. Well, even if he rolled one to the left side of the infield, he'd have a base hit every time. The way they play him.
I don't think he needs to roll. I think he can drive it out there.
I'm just saying, even if he doesn't, if it's not a pitch that he can handle and he doesn't make good contact, just the concept of hitting the ball the other way would give him 20 more hits a year.
I just could never understand how a hitter would want to feel like the outside corner was on the black outside corner paint is a pitch I don't want to hit. I always made sure I had coverage of the outside corner. I stood as far away from the plate as I possibly could against right-handers and still be able to get that bat over the outside corner. It's a little cooler today, Gary. It's been 89, 87 consistently. It's only 80 degrees today.
One and one to Dyer, who doubled and scored his first time up, and he pops this one up in his shallow right. And Springer's there to grab it. That retires the side, but David Wright, who hit just 8 home runs all last season, has his third in 32 at-bats this spring. Curveball disappears, and the Mets have a 3-0 lead after 3. Fourth inning, 3-0 New York. Dylan G. 56 pitches through 3 innings, has scattered 4 hits. Got Jed Lowry to face to start the 4th inning. Lowry flied to left his first trip and takes a curveball inside. 2-0. He went 3 2/3 against the Astros in his last outing. They'd love to get 5 out of him today, but might be less than that. Buddy Carlisle's already up in the Mets bullpen. He's thrown more pitches than he would have liked over the first 3 innings. And now he's behind on Lowry, 3-0. Jed Lowry was with the Astros 3 years ago. They traded him to Oakland to get Chris Carter, who's turned into a big home run hitter for them. And then they re-signed Lowry this past winter. It's almost like a Lee Mazzilli deal. Trade Mazzilli to get Darling, and then you bring him back. Reynolds throws out Lowry, 1 away. Today at 5:30, Chris Carlin and Adam Schein will bring you the latest Mets and Yankees news with insider info and exclusive interviews straight from camp on Loudmouths today at 5:30, only on SNY. So 1 out. Now G faces Colby Rasmus, who singled into right his first time up. And he takes a curveball for a strike.
I'll call it.
Now the 0-2, and he got him with a curveball. So G working on this curve here in the 4th inning. That's his first strikeout of the afternoon.
Gets Rasmus out in front. Good breaking ball down outside corner. Took something off. Nice pitch.
So G looking for his first 1-2-3 inning of the afternoon. 2 out and nobody on for Jonathan VR, who grounded out to first base his first trip. Thinks about a bunt. 1-0. Well, maybe the Mets would try to shoehorn G into that first series in Washington, only because he's been so successful against the Nats over the years. But he needs the extra time anyway. Just stretching out his arm after beginning the spring in the bullpen.
Well, the rotation sets up for the Mets. It's going to be Cologne. Who's going?
DeGrom
and then Harvey. And I think it sets up Harvey to pitch second home game, which I always feel you're going to sell out opening day. So it's perfect that Harvey pitches the second game of the homestand. And DeGrom for opening day at City, not too shabby.
Well, the other piece is any day you can push Harvey back a little bit, you're buying innings for later in the season. And if you force feed him and pitch him opening day or pitch him the home opener, that's one less day you're going to have him at the end, or one less inning you're going to have him in a big spot.
If everything goes according to plan and no one gets hurt with a 5-man rotation, everybody's going to pitch 32 games. It all comes out in the wash.
Well, I think Harvey will throw fewer than 32
Yes,
games.
I agree.
I think they will find ways to give him extra days. They'll pull him out of starts a little bit earlier.
Of course.
They might skip
do it that way.
Skip him a turn or two. Well,
it's not so much about starts; it's about innings pitched.
I think they'll do all those things because they don't want to get to a point where you're in the middle of September and he's at 185 innings, and they're saying, "Well, wait a second, we've run out of gas."
Strasburg,
right? That nobody wants to go through what the Nats did with Strasburg when he came back from Tommy John, and I think that everybody is feeding off that lesson. How do we figure out a way to get our rehabbing pitcher to October, which is where the Mets would like to be, without going over whatever innings limit they set? And I think there are a lot of different creative ways of doing it. I think one instructive way is the way the Orioles used their rotation last year. They basically had 6 starting pitchers, and they kept swapping them down to the minor leagues and bringing them back up, and they had 6 effective starters, and they were a division-winning team that way. 9th pitch of the at-bat, and VR chops one, and G has it in his pocket and makes the play himself to retire the side. 4 strong innings for Dylan G. His first 1-2-3 inning of the afternoon. Makes this one look easy. Who needs a first baseman? Down to spring training, we'll tell you one of the joys is the intimacy that it provides, and also your odds of getting a baseball are enhanced greatly with the smaller crowds in spring training. And if you're a cute kid, your odds go up exponentially. That happy face. Kirk Neuenhuis, whose face no one has seen for a while, takes a strike. He has certainly got great volume on that beard that he has grown. I'm not sure it's the biggest beard in camp. Bobby Parnell might have him on that, but he's got tremendous thickness. There's Bobby.
It looks like they can put him in like a Civil War uniform, and they would fit right in.
The road grays,
or the blues. They're in blue. They're Federals.
Well, Parnell's got the beard going, and hopefully before too long he'll pitch in a big league game. He's pitched in one minor league game, and due to pitch in another one tomorrow. 3-1 to Neuenhuis. When you were playing, no one was allowed to have beards, were they?
You could grow them if you wanted. I just never had a desire to. It was too hot in the summer. I grew a goatee once with the Mets, so I had it very briefly. I grew it because, and I planned it for, it was a big series in St. Louis in the middle of the year. We were competing with St. Louis. So it was, I got a picture of it with my daughter, actually, because they were boomer. I remember how they booed me there.
Oh, they loved you when you left.
So I figured I'd be.
McHugh gets a call on a backdoor curveball, and Neuenhuis strikes out for the second time.
Breaking ball away again, getting Neuenhuis.
Is this a strike?
Oh, we didn't move the glove. You know what the old adage is, right? If it's close enough for the umpire to call it a strike, he can't take.
It's all about framing, right? That's what everybody covets now in their catchers. And Castro had better framing numbers last year than he did the year before, and that allowed them to tolerate a poor offensive year from him.
And when you say framing, it doesn't mean trying to cheat a strike. You know, being deceptive and trying to get that pitch that's an inch or two outside and deceptively bring your glove in. You talk to any home plate umpire, they love a catcher that doesn't just holds the glove there no matter where it is. Makes their job easier, and then you might be inclined, because you got him happy, got the home plate umpire very happy, you might get that call. You're not going to be able to fool anybody. I just don't think.
But when they judge catchers on framing, statistically, they judge them on how many strikes they get on balls that are not actually in the strike zone. So I guess there are two ways of looking at it.
Got him.
So Muno is hit by the pitch, and the Mets have a one-out base runner.
Coming up next on the season premiere of Mets Insider, get an inside look at Matt Harvey's return, plus what David Wright did to help Michael Kadire become a Met. Mets Insider, presented by W.B. Mason, coming up next only on SNY. I guess the bottom line on the whole pitch framing thing is that there's a way now of quantifying something that was kind of people knew about and could feel, but now you can actually put a number on it because they have such a perfect representation of the strike zone with all the cameras they have now.
And we've talked about d'Arnaud being very adept at it, but d'Arnaud, as a result, sometimes he had a lot of pass balls last year.
Right. Well, that's right, because you're turning your glove to try and frame a pitch, and sometimes you're not opening it up well enough to catch the pitch. And as Castro watches that sell out of play. But let me ask you this. Now that they have such great camera systems in all the major league ballparks to judge the strike zone, and the umpires use those, they get graded on their ball and strike calls, just as the catchers now get graded on how they frame pitches. Do you think it would be a better thing if one day they just used those cameras to call balls and strikes and took the home plate umpire out of the equation?
Then who's going to call?
Well,
who's going to call a close play at the plate with a runner?
No, I'm saying you can have a home plate umpire for
just sit there
for that, but for balls and strikes, have the electronic system call it as they do in tennis. Do you think that would be a good thing or a bad thing?
Like the robotic maid in the Jetsons?
Rosie.
Please, Gary, that's not. No, I wouldn't like that. Let's have the human element here in the game. Very good. I forgot Rosie's name.
Well, she's not in. She's not in the opening credits. It's George and Elroy and Judy and Jane.
Daughter Judy, Jane, his wife.
Yeah, Astros not in the opening either. I always thought that was a big oversight.
Spacely Sprockets.
Cogswell Coggs.
We're getting silly.
Manel pops the curveball up in foul ground. Balbuena over and runs out of room. Manel got kneed in the head on a head-first slide at second base back in the second inning, but after being examined by the trainer, stayed in the game. Manel came up through the Giants system, and it was not a good time to be a catcher in the Giants system if you wanted to play in the big leagues. He got stuck behind Buster Posey. And he goes down swinging here. That's 7 strikeouts now for Colin McHugh. McHugh averaged more than a strikeout per inning last year, and you look at his stuff and you don't think of him as a strikeout pitcher.
A lot of guys have trouble with the curveball. That's why.
And he has used that curve to set up his fastball for strikeouts this afternoon. Did that there to Manel. Now they're at 2 out. Munoz still at first, and Matt Reynolds will bat. Into shallow right. And on comes Springer to get it. That retires the side. We've played 4 now at Port St. Lucie. 3-0 Mets. Here's your City line score as we go to the 5th inning. Mets with a 3-0 lead. Dylan G's work is done after 4 scoreless innings, and 37-year-old Buddy Carlisle will come in to relieve him.
Well, Carlisle came up in '99 with the Padres, pitched for the Dodgers in '05, Braves, Yankees, and briefly had a terrific year with the Mets last year.
Unquestionably his best big league season. He was in 27 games, pitched to a 1.45 ERA. Jake Marisnick leads off for the Astros. Marisnick hit by a pitch his first time up. And you look at Carlisle's pitch numbers from last year, and what jumps out at you is that he threw a higher percentage of fastballs last year than he had at any other time in his career. Just fastball after fastball, to the point where for the season he threw 83% fastballs.
Well, I remember saying, God, you got to throw a slider once in a while. He just came after hitters, throws very hard. You know, and the Braves kind of just abused him, really. I mean, in 2007, he was always been a reliever, and he started 20 games for the Braves.
The Braves have burned out some relievers the last few years.
Yeah, well,
Johnny Venter's front and center. I mean,
the whole tenure of Bobby Cox, he used to blow through bullpens.
But Carlisle's chances for making this team greatly enhanced with all the difficulties the Mets have had, with Josh Edgen having Tommy John surgery. Vic Black's shoulder has been weak and he's been set back. Mets having trouble finding anybody who can fill the bill from the left side. So guys like Carlisle are much more on the radar than they might have been at the beginning of the spring. When spring began, it looked like the Mets had one open spot in that bullpen, but you know, G moves into the rotation and Edgen is out and Black is questionable, and now you've got a lot more question marks. Carlisle getting over there, but too late. He hesitated just a beat. Nice play by Duda, but Carlisle unable to get there in time, and Marisnick has an infield hit.
Well, if any pitcher will tell you, there's a delay that you've got to get over. The runner should never beat you to the bag. And that's just good hustle right there from Marisnick. Gets himself a base hit.
So a leadoff single for the Astros, and as Buddy Carlisle works on the mound, we're very pleased to bring in from the Mets dugout Dylan G after his 4 innings of work today. Dylan, it's Gary and Keith. How you doing?
I'm doing good, guys. How are you?
This has been such an odd spring for you as you try and now readjust to doing what you do best, which is start games. How do you think this has gone for you?
I think it's gone about as well as we could hope for. I was trying to get my mind right and get ready for the bullpen, and learn that whole routine. And about that time, we get the news about Wheeler, and I'm put right back into the starting rotation. So now I'm just trying to get stretched back out.
In today's performance, Dylan, early looked like you were up with your pitches, particularly with the left-handers, and then it seemed like the last 2 innings you started getting it down, working your breaking ball down, and became more effective.
Yeah, I think I got better as the game went on. Dan kind of challenged me before the game and said, see how far you can get with fastball changeup. And, I was trying that out until some guys got on base, and we got about one time through the order, and I tried to start throwing some cutters and stuff like that.
Dylan, we've been around you long enough to know that not much rattles you. You've been through so much in your career, whether it's the labrum or the blood clot you had to deal with, or the injury last year with the lat. But the way that this is developed with all the trade rumors and then being shuffled off to the bullpen and now being back in the rotation and not really know what's coming over your shoulder, how have you handled that?
I hope I handled it well. I look at it as a lot of those things, injuries, what the team is what role they're going to put you in. That stuff's out of your control. I try to make the best of whatever situation I'm dealt, and whether that's a blood clot or something like that, I just try to make the best of it and use it as an opportunity to get better.
Dylan, your next start out, how many pitches you want to go? Or do you go by pitches, or do you go by innings pitched?
I think pitches. Today I was a little upset that I only got 4 through 70 pitches. That's not me, and I need to be better at that. But like I said, we were working on fastball changeup early through the count, so I might have thrown some extra pitches in there for that reason. But I think I went 70s today maybe, and I think 90 is probably pretty good.
So you'll have, what, a couple more starts before that first start you'll make in Atlanta?
Yeah, I don't know the exact schedule. I just know that I do have one more full one that I hopefully get to 90, maybe even into 90 if I feel good, and especially see how I come back after today's outing. But and then after that, I'm sure I'll get another one. I just don't know if it's going to be a long one or not. I don't know.
Dylan, I know after the struggles late last season, you went back and looked at some old tape of yourself trying to figure out exactly where you needed to be. Mm-hmm. What did you see, and what kind of adjustments have you made?
Well, I saw a lot of a guy trying to overthrow, trying to be better than you have to be. I'm not a power guy. I'm a guy that's going to try to mix it in and out, up and down, and keep you off balance. And, I watched a lot of film, and after I came back from that injury, I don't know if it was because I was scared to get hurt again or what, but my mechanics changed. My arm angle got really high, and, I'm a guy that's going to rely on movement, sinking the ball, and when you're high like that, everything was flat. And I was trying to be somebody I wasn't.
Well, it looks like you're pointed back in the right direction. Does it feel that way?
Yeah, I feel good. Surprisingly, I feel pretty good already. And I think I'm just kind of using the mantra of less is more right now. Like I said, not being a power guy, I got to make sure that I hit my spots, and I have a better chance of hitting those spots if I just less is more, stay calm and controlled, and finish the pitch.
Dylan, thanks very much. Good job today.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
That's Dylan G, brought to you by Citi, as the Astros get a run on the Valbuena double, 3-1 New York. Live Mets baseball is back in 2015 with MLB.com at bat on your smartphone or tablet. Stay connected with live radio broadcasts, stats, breaking news, and more. Download MLB.com at bat, the #1 app for live baseball. And there's an opening day watch party at Citi Field. We'll tell you about that later. We're a little out of sync here. Matt Dendecker leads off in the home fifth against Colin McHugh. Dendecker struck out his first time up. Dendecker facing McHugh for the second time. The guy he's not facing is the lefty warming up in the bullpen, with whom Matt is quite familiar, and is his cousin Kevin Chapman. And if you remember the last series of last year, they got to face each other in a big league game for the first time. They were not only cousins, but they were best friends growing up in Florida. I don't know whether they'll get to face each other in the game today. Lowry bobbles but throws out Dendecker for the first out. That said, it was a rather eerie experience facing his cousin in a big league game, but an exciting one at the same time.
I bet.
So 1 out and nobody on. Now Curtis Granderson, who's flied out and walked. It was nice talking with Dylan G. He's one of those guys you root for. And he's never had an easy path. He wasn't considered a big prospect. 21st round draft pick. Had to battle his way to the big leagues, and everybody had him traded in the offseason. Everybody had him in the bullpen, and now here he is back with his job back, and it's in his hands.
Well, injuries have been his nemesis. I mean, the lat injury last year, and he had the same thing that David Cohn had with the circulatory in the shoulder. They had the
blood clot,
yeah, the blood clot.
I mean, if you think about it, from the end of May in 13 until the time he went down with the lat last year, he was as good as anybody. Granderson grounds out to Carter for the second out. But, he doesn't profile as one of those electric young arms, and so people tend to count him out.
Well, there's so much emphasis on throwing 97, 98 today, and, you can overlook the guy that knows how to pitch, not overpowering, and usually those guys have good off-speed stuff, good breaking ball. That's Dylan. But still pitch inside with the fastball. They know how to pitch. It's really an art. I've always appreciated the guys that didn't have the overpowering stuff, that were top-notch pitchers.
There's David Wright. Well, then you get the guys who have the great stuff and the know-how.
Then you're talking Don Sutton. You're talking Hall of Fame, Tom Seaver.
Well, you're talking a guy like Matt Harvey.
Well, Matt Harvey certainly, yes. Oops, there's a ball down there from the bullpen that rolled behind home plate. Who threw that wild pitch?
That would be Dario Alvarez.
Okay.
Wright hit his third home run of the spring his last time up. Trying to regain the power that has been lost.
You know what? The power would be nice. Just regain the 100 RBIs and the 300 batting average, and everything else will come into place. Whether he hits 20 or 30 or 15, if he's got 100 RBIs, he's driving in clutch runs. To me, it's all about run production.
Well, I don't think anybody's looking for David to hit 30 the way he did early in his career. But 20 to 25, I think, is not unreasonable to expect.
Nope. And certainly not the 100 RBIs.
He's done that 5 times in his career, but the last time was in 2010. Hey, it's already time for the 5th inning recap presented by Land Rover. Very simple recap. Pitching, hitting.
Yeah, we're a little bit over halfway through. Here comes that hanging slider again.
David hopes. Hits it out to right field, and Springer has it measured. 1-2-3 inning for Colin McHugh, probably ending his afternoon. 5-3-1 New York. On a partly cloudy afternoon in Port St. Lucie, the Mets and the Astros going at it just under 2 weeks from opening day. And the Mets have themselves a 3-1 lead as we head to the 6th. Perfect day for a snow cone. I think every day is a perfect day for a snow cone.
She didn't want the spoon.
Who needs a spoon? I'd rather get that stuff all over your face. It's part of the charm. Dario Alvarez on in relief for the Mets, and Jason Castro takes inside.
Well, he had a brief stint last year with the Metsies in 4 appearances. Didn't fare well.
This spring he's had one bad outing against the Nats, where he walked 3 guys, gave up 3 runs. Otherwise, he's pitched okay, and he's certainly in that mix for the vacant lefty spot in the bullpen with Josh Edgen down with the Tommy John surgery. Sean Gilmartin and Jack Leathersich and Scott Rice all in that conversation. None of them has particularly stood out. Zach Thornton, who's also a possibility to open the season in the bullpen, getting ready to pitch next. It's amazing how you go into spring thinking one thing about a particular area on your team, and over the course of 3 weeks, just about everything changes. Mets went into the spring thinking maybe they had one spot open in their bullpen for a second lefty or somebody else. Now they basically have 4 spots open in their bullpen. Toward the gap in left center, and over comes Nieuwenhuis to get it. 1 out. And right now, once you get past Henry Mejia, Jerry's Familia, and Carlos Torres, you have nothing but question marks. Big Black threw off flat ground today after sitting out for almost 2 weeks with a weak shoulder. Rafael Montero, you think, probably is going to be in that bullpen, but they still haven't decided that for sure. Carlisle's a candidate. All these lefties are candidates. Thornton's a candidate.
They've been pitching Goodell a lot in spring training, Gary, giving him a real good look.
Yeah.
The big curveballer.
Do you think he's in the mix?
I think he's at outside looking in.
And there's obviously going to be conversation, and already has been, about going outside the organization to find a lefty. Joel Beimel was just released. He's available, veteran guy who's been a guy who's gotten lefties out over the course of his career. There's been talk about the Orioles' Brian Mattis being a trade target, but right now you got to go with what you got, and that's what Terry Collins is trying to figure out. And that's why a guy like Alvarez has a chance to make an impression, and falling behind his first 2 hitters will not help him. The thing about Alvarez, when he pitched in the minors last year at Binghamton, he was a strike thrower. Walked only 14 batters in 61 innings. 14 walks and 95 strikeouts, only 43 hits allowed. That was actually single A.
That was Savannah,
yeah.
The low class.
Got the glove on it, but it's into no man's land, and Lowry beats it out.
Well, he's 26 years old. Mets got him from Philadelphia. I think he's just a very, very long shot to make the ball club, to be honest with you. I think Gilmartin, being the Rule 5 guy, I like his curveball. I think he has a chance to be one of the guys in the bullpen if they opt to go. Are they going to go with just one, or are they going to go with 2?
They certainly have that choice if 2 guys show that they deserve it. I would not count out Scott Rice, because his velocity is starting to come back. His ball is sinking. And we've seen what he can do at the big league level 2 years ago. I mean, as a rookie, he was a mainstay. That's a good breaking ball by Alvarez, had Rasmus bailing. And this, of course, is the best test for Alvarez against these left-hand hitters, to see whether he can be a guy who can get a lefty out. Rasmus 1 for 2 today against G.
I mean, you basically only have, I mean, he had five appearances last year in Double-A, Alvarez. So you're looking at a guy really that's had A-ball experience. It's a big jump from A-ball to the major leagues. Astronomical jump.
Well, he's a guy who was with the Phillies organization, then pitched overseas. He went to Japan, he went to Korea, he pitched in Venezuela, and didn't get back to baseball in this country until 2 years ago when the Mets signed him. So trying to fashion a career as a late bloomer. G went the first 4, allowed no runs and 4 hits. Buddy Carlisle worked an inning, gave up 1 run, 2 hits. And now Alvarez in the 6th. And he gets a swinging strike on the slider, 2-2.
Well, if he can do that all the time.
Duda with a quick toss. Reynolds comes down in the bag. Not in time for the double play. Duda making a slightly high throw.
Duda has good footwork, Gary, when turning 2. We showed that. He showed it last year during the season. For a big guy, he's quick with his feet as far as getting rid of the ball. Now the throw wasn't that great, a little bit off. I don't think you're going to double up Rasmus with that at his speed.
I'm not sure Reynolds ever had the ball in the bag either. In any event, 2 out. Rasmus at first. And now Jonathan VR turns around about right-handed. Grounded out twice as a left-hand batter and takes a slider for a strike. I think there was every reason last year to be very pleasantly surprised with Duda's defense at first base.
Well, remember, they played left field with him, and he eventually usurped Ike Davis. And that's his natural position. That's where he likes to play, most comfortable. He was tough.
And for a team that is going to have its issues defensively this year, I think it's really important that that Duda be a mainstay defensively. I mean, once you get past Lagares in center field and Wright at third base, it's got a lot of holes. And Duda, if he can just do what he needs to do, pick balls out of the dirt and make that play on the double play, it becomes a really important factor because defensively you don't know what you're getting at second and short. Darno still has strides to make behind the plate. Your corner outfielders are not plus defenders, and if you're building around pitching, what the Mets are trying to do, it's certainly a cause for concern. If Lagares could cover the whole field by himself, then it wouldn't be a concern.
Well, he can just about cover pretty much of that outfield, and he's going to have to. Now, Granderson in right field can cover ground. He's got speed. Now Kodaier I think that's why Kodaier is going to be in left field. A little smaller outfield than the right field at Citi Field, even though they brought the fences in.
There's the backdoor breaking ball by Alvarez to strike out VR. So he finishes his inning with a strikeout. That takes us to the bottom of the 6th. Mets up 3-1. to go to the bottom of the 6th. Gregorio Petit comes in to play second base. Robbie Grossman is now in left field. And the new Houston pitcher is Matt Den Decker's cousin, Kevin Chapman.
Looks like he's having himself. It's kind of hard to judge. What do you got? You got 6 games. You're throwing 1 inning. You haven't given up a run. You're doing what you're supposed to do. But it's hard to make an assessment.
Well, they bring him in to face Lucas Duda, who made the trip up to Lakeland the other day, which he was not scheduled to make, strictly because he wanted to face David Price. Duda trying to get as many at-bats against quality lefties as he can this spring to try and shake the idea that he can't hit left-handed.
Had a home run off Sabathia the other day.
Right. Early in the season, Terry Collins has already said he plans to play Duda against most lefties. Strikes out on 3 pitches against Chapman for the first out.
And that's the big nemesis for Duda, is chasing the bad breaking ball at the left-hander like that.
And that'll be the only man Chapman faces. He was brought in just to get a lefty out. And the Astros will bring a right-hander into the game to face Michael Kadire. So everybody's being examined to see their liabilities and their strengths. Pitching change for the Astros. We'll be right back. Veteran right-hander Luke Gregerson, one of the key acquisitions for the Astros in the offseason, comes in.
30 years old. He is one of the stalwart relievers in baseball.
Pitched in Oakland last year after 5 years in San Diego.
He pitched to a 2.12 earned run average in 72 appearances. Came up with the Padres in 09. Had 5 solid seasons with San Diego.
And here's the thing about Gregerson. He's been in 70 or more games, 5 of his 6 seasons in the big leagues. And the 1 year he wasn't, he was in 61. So he has been durable and very, very consistent. Kadire chops one out to Valbuena, and that's the second out. The Astros bullpen last year was the worst in the major leagues. We talked about the fact that they improved 19 games from the year before. The thing that held them back from making further progress was a 4.8 bullpen ERA, dead last in baseball. So they went out and they got Gregerson, and they also got Pat Neshek, the side armor, to go with Chad Qualls in that bullpen, and they should be a lot better.
Well, Qualls has been a guy that's hung in there. Been come back to Houston. He pitched what was good years at Houston, Arizona, Philadelphia. He didn't fare well.
Now, A.J. Hinch, the Houston manager, has yet to name a closer. It could be any one of those three guys, Qualls, Gregerson, or Neshek. None of them is best suited to being a closer, at least not at this point in Qualls' career, although he once was. But he's basically got to choose one of them, and he says he plans to choose one sometime in the next week or so.
It's nice to see a pitcher out there doing his work, throwing strikes, going after hitters. Always has a great slider and a hard sinker.
Gregerson, the king of the muscle cars. Got a 67 Camaro in his garage.
Ooh.
Yeah. Here's the 1-2 to Nieuwenhuis, and Kirk goes down on that slider. So Gregerson comes in, gets his 2 men. Earned himself a little beach time. SNY and Metropolitan Hospitality are hosting an opening day watch party at Citi Field when the Mets take on the Nationals in D.C. April 6th. The SNY telecast of the game will be shown on the new expanded Citi Vision, and FanFest games and activities will be open. Request free tickets at Mets.com/watchparty. Well, we showed you some ducks there. And there's another Duck, the former Oregon Duck, Zach Thornton, on the mound for the Mets.
I'm sure he was very unhappy in that championship game against Ohio State. That fourth quarter, they got blown out of the gym.
Sinker slider, fastball.
Our director, Dan Barr, is an Oregon Duck, and Keith is trying his best to rub it in. 2-1 to Jake Marisnick. Well, Thornton was the guy the Mets got back in the deal for Ike Davis last April. Pitched in 50 games for Vegas last year and had middling success.
Gave up more hits than innings pitched. That's something I always look at. Doesn't walk a lot of people. He's a sinker slider guy, kind of a slinger. Watch his motion. Very loose. Watch his arm.
I was talking with Anthony Recker this morning about Thornton. He's been very impressed. Marisnick not nearly as impressed. Cranks one out deep to left, and that's well gone. Marisnick with a long home run, his first of the spring, to cut the Mets lead to 3-2.
Sinker slider, dude. You gotta make a mistake. Make the fucking mistake, dude.
So Marisnick, who hit just 3 home runs in 221 at-bats last year in the big leagues, Hits one over the back wall.
And you got a hanging slider here, right here, inner half. Oh boy, on a tee. Good swing. Off speed when it's hanging. It's always a little bit slower. Get the barrel of the bat out.
Now Jose Altuve up for the 4th time. He's grounded out twice and flied out.
Let this guy boom loud. Out of his way.
In his shallow right center, Cesar Puello just into the game, puts it away for the first out. Puello coming in for Curtis Granderson in right field. Now George Springer. There's Alex Castellanos who's playing third base. Boy, has he had a rough time injury-wise this spring. Got stepped on at first base the other day. Turned his ankle, but right back out there. So 1 out now. Springer is 1 for 3, and he takes a strike. Dylan G went the first 4 innings for the Mets, allowed no runs and 4 hits. Buddy Carlisle gave up a run in an inning. Dario Alvarez worked a scoreless 6th, and now Thornton touched for a home run here in the 7th. Throws that fastball to the outside corner. 0-2. Zach Thornton, 26 years old. Started out in the Oakland organization. There's a nice fastball to get him looking. Springer out. And Thornton has his first strikeout, 2 away.
Well, knee-high outside corner. Springer didn't think that was a strike. Thought it was outside.
Now Matt Dominguez will bat for the first time. Dominguez batting for Luis Valbuena, who went 2 for 2 and a walk, drove in a run. Dominguez, a guy who got a lot of playing time at third base last year and might have trouble holding on to a job this year.
Well, he was the highly touted minor leaguer with the Marlins.
Right.
A third baseman or first baseman?
Third baseman, yeah.
And didn't pan out for him.
And it took him a long time to resurface, but he got an opportunity with the Astros last year, but he hit just .215. He was the everyday third baseman, wound up with 564 at bats. You know, when you're an organization like Houston, which is stripped down and is trying to build its way back up, players like Dominguez often serve as placeholders until you develop the younger players that you have on the horizon. And then it becomes difficult for those guys who are the placeholders to hang on to those jobs.
And that's a tough season when you play 157 games and you hit .215. Hit 16 home runs. Drove in 57, but you know 125 strikeouts.
Just, yeah, and only 29 walks with 125 strikeouts.
It's so prevalent in today's game.
Well, we talked about the Astros earlier and their strikeouts. Strike 3 called, so back-to-back strikeouts for Zach Thornton. Nice recovery after giving up the home run to Jake Marisnick. So an up-and-down inning for the former Oregon Duck. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com for a free rate quote. By Citi, proud sponsor of the New York Mets. And by Baha Mar at the Bahamian Riviera. Pat Neshek on to pitch for the Astros. Danny Muno at the plate for the Mets. Muno is grounded out and been hit by a pitch. 34-year-old Pat Neshek signed as a free agent after spending last year with the Cardinals. Had a great year.
Funky motion, can go side underhand on you, submarine. Really a side armor.
It's weird because he drops down and then he comes back up.
It's a side armor, really.
Muno at the plate, Johnny Manel to follow, and then Matt Reynolds. Host of changes for the Astros. And rather than stress the director to show you all the changes, we'll just tell you. I'm trying to give him a half a day off. Dan Johnson, the former Rays hero, is now playing first base. One of the best prospects in baseball, Carlos Correa, the former first overall pick, is now playing shortstop. Matt Dominguez, there's Correa. See, showed us at least one of them. Matt Dominguez is now playing third. L.J. Hose is in center. And Alex Presley is in right. So now you're up to date. Changeup hit well to left field. Grossman going back and gets turned around in time to find it. Muno showing some pop the other way. And Grossman pulls it in for the first out.
Wind blowing out to left a little bit here.
So 1 out and nobody on. Now Johnny Manel, who's grounded to first base. That resulted in an error and a run for the Mets. And then he struck out in the fourth, 0 for 2. And he flies one out to left. And again, Grossman has to go back, further back this time. And he makes another catch. A better one than the first one. Better play a little deeper. So the Mets, left-hand hitters, hitting the ball deep to left against Neshek. And Grossman equal to the task.
A little bit of a jet stream out to left field today. It isn't pretty, but gets the job done.
In the glove. All that matters. So here's Reynolds, 0 for 2, struck out and flied out. And Matt takes a strike. Now Neshek went to the Cardinals last year, and during the season the Cardinals acquired John Lackey from the Red Sox, and Neshek had always worn number 41, and that was Lackey's number. So Neshek was kind enough to give Lackey his number, and Lackey, as compensation, purchased for Neshek a signed Babe Ruth baseball.
Wow.
And Neshek's a big-time collector, and he was just overjoyed at getting that in compensation for his number. Carlos Torres, you saw up in the Mets bullpen. Neshek's a guy who will, if you send him a baseball card of any player in the history of the game, he will sign one of his cards and send it back to you. So he's managed to collect over the years tens of thousands of baseball cards in that fashion. And then the ones that he can get signed for himself, who he runs across in the course of his big league season, he gets them signed. So he's got this tremendous collection of cards and balls and all sorts of memorabilia. Not a lot of players are into the whole memorabilia thing, but some are big time, and Neshek's one of those. Den Decker on deck.
Remember when we were kids and all the cards we had in our chest of drawers, our shoe boxes,
and our bicycle spokes?
Until Mom got a hold. We got out of the house,
flipping them to the wall.
I used to put them on my back tire of my bike. It used to make that noise, a flip noise.
Think of all the riches we squandered.
Nice.
Reynolds drills one down the line, but foul.
I'm always amazed at that. How the fans just react to, everybody clap your hands. And it's like so quiet, and all of a sudden everybody's clapping their hands. It's like a drill sergeant out there or something.
If they didn't respond,
I'm very contrary.
They wouldn't do it again.
I wouldn't clap.
Well, of course not. Nobody tells you what to do.
Good at bat here for young Matt Reynolds here. A very tough right-hander, doubly tough on right-hand hitters. He's really hanging in there. You'd like to see that.
This will be the 8th pitch of the at-bat from Neshek to Reynolds. And he floats one to shallow left. Grossman with all 3 putouts in the inning. And that gets Neshek through the bottom of the 7th. The unusual delivery of Pat Neshek. Up, down, and back up again. 3-2 Mets after 7. Get to Citi Field Saturday, April 18th for fireworks night following the Mets game against the Marlins at 7:10. For tickets, visit Mets.com/fireworks. Carlos Torres will be the 5th Met pitcher of the afternoon.
Back-to-back days again. Twice this has happened to Carlos, but he's the type of guy that you can go to. There was only one time last year where I thought they overworked him, and they were quickly cognizant of it and rested him for around 4 or 5 days. But he had a terrific year for the Mets last year.
Dan Johnson up for the first time for Houston. Well, Torres famously had that start late last season where he took the ball as a starter on 0 days rest. He pitched in relief the day before, and against the Cubs on August 18th went 5 scoreless innings. And that happens almost never. And with the 4th pitcher in Met history to make a start on 0 days rest. But some guys are just blessed with that ability to bounce back.
Have rubber arms.
Last year, Carlos led the major leagues in relief innings. 97 innings overall, 92 as a reliever. And he goes upstairs, 2-2 to Johnson.
He really doesn't have the body type you would think that of a guy that you can work a lot in the course of a season. He's tall and slender. Usually those guys that have the rubber arms are stocky and husky guys.
Toward the hole, and Johnson sneaks one through for a leadoff hit. So the Astros have their 8th hit. There's Dave Hudgens, the former Mets batting coach, now Houston batting coach, and trying to diversify a Houston offense that was very reliant on the home run last year. And one of his prime pupils at the plate now, and Jason Castro. There's Gio Meyer running for Johnson at first base. So Meyer is aboard. Now here's Castro, who's 1 for 3, singled back in the 2nd inning. He's played the whole game behind the plate. And Torres picks the inside corner. I love when we have the open microphone so we can hear some of the dugout chatter.
Especially over Houston down there. It's right there by the coaches where they're sitting, as a matter of fact.
Hope they don't get us in trouble.
No, it won't get us in trouble.
Well,
we're not allowed.
Not you and me personally.
They can say anything they can say anything they want. We can't.
There's the microphone, ready for the weather. No rain in the forecast today, is there?
There was a potential late afternoon, but it doesn't look it. But you never know what's behind us.
It's nice, fluffy cumulus clouds up there now. Lazy afternoon, 78 degrees.
Beautiful.
It's springtime in Florida now. Eventually, it'll be springtime in New York. Another couple of months.
Well, eventually, it'll be autumn in New York.
Broken back grinder for Reynolds to handle. And it's a 6-6-3 double play. 2 out and nobody on. Can't get much easier than that.
Taylor made. Reynolds wisely takes it by himself. What was that? My Fair Lady, Autumn in New York? That song? Yes, it was My Fair Lady.
Well, now we get a look at Carlos Correa. 3 years ago was the first overall pick in the draft. Last year played in Lancaster in the Midwest League at .325 with a .416 on base percentage.
I'm going to look that up, Gare.
Autumn in New York?
Yeah, just because it's such an exciting part of the game right now.
I thought you'd be very excited to see Carlos Correa. Big time prospect.
First things first, Autumn in New York.
Okay. I'm glad we have priorities here. We just try to establish them. It's a new season. You have to re-educate me about what's important. I appreciate that.
Chopper. Tough play on the back end from Muno, and no chance to get the speedy Correa. So Correa running well. Looks like he's fully recovered from the ankle injury he suffered last year and shortened his season.
So I stand corrected, Gary. Autumn in New York was a jazz standard composed by Vernon Duke in 1934 for the Broadway musical Thumbs Up. It was a beautiful song.
It's a musical that I think has been lost to history.
I've never heard of it.
No, that's what I meant.
So a nice song came out of it.
Can you hum a few bars? Because I'm really not familiar.
Performed by Charlie Parker, Billie Holiday, Stan Kenton, Sarah Vaughan. Holy cow! Ellis Fitzgerald.
Those are some big time talents there.
Yep. It's a beautiful song.
Here's Robbie Grossman batting for the first time at a busy inning in the field in the last half inning. Grossman played a lot of outfield for the Astros last year. Another one of these guys who's been passed by and now trying to hang on to a job as a reserve.
Oh, you got your hat on backwards.
And that's a problem. Why?
Well, if you're playing, do the major leaguers wear their hats on backwards? No. Oh, he's having a ball.
It doesn't prevent him from chasing that ball down the hill, does it? That berm is the most fun place in this ballpark.
Yes.
The kids have a good time out there. The parents have a good time out there. Getting some sun.
He's getting worn out too. He's going to sleep good tonight.
It's part of the plan.
Yep.
Torres just missed with that.
It's really just a perfect day for the berm. Sometimes when it's really, really hot and sunny, the sun sets in the west and just beats on that berm. But it's just beautiful today. Very pleasant.
There's a strike. 2-1 to Grossman. The Astros 2 runs and 10 hits. The Mets 3 runs and 2 hits.
2-run home run right now by David Wright is the difference.
Michael Kadire had a double and scored a run, and those have been all the hits for the Mets today. The Mets have been pounding out double digits in hits just about every day. Late on that fastball. Natural cutter from Torres. Carlos has had to teach himself how to throw a straight fastball. Then he'll roll out there every now and again. Correa had 20 steals in just 62 games last year before he hurt his ankle. Probably ticketed for Double-A this year, and maybe in the big leagues as early as next year. Certainly the Astros are very excited about that prospect. They've had some bad luck with the #1 draft picks the last couple of years. Correa hurt his ankle last year. Appel, the pitcher, had all sorts of problems last season, but he looks much better this spring. And the throw to first with Duda playing behind the bag, that's a balk.
Nice, it is.
Well, Torres should have been aware with 3 and 2, but poor communication between he and Duda. And he turned and threw to an unoccupied base.
Always as a first baseman, you've got to tell your pitcher behind him.
So that moves the tying run to second base. Ever happened to you? The pitcher throwing when you were over?
No, I always made a point to calling out the pitcher, and you cross your forearm, saying playing behind him. Never happened.
3 and 2 to Grossman. And it's outside, ball 4. And now they're 2 men on. 5th walk given up by Met pitching today. Well, believe it or not, it's going to be 6 days until our next SNY telecast. It won't be till Monday with the Mets and the Marlins here. We've got the Picks telecast coming up on Saturday. Well, it'll be you, me, and Ronnie on Monday when the Mets play the Marlins.
So Ronnie and I on the Nationals here in Picks Saturday.
Well, I know I won't be here, so it must be you and Ronnie.
And then the 3 of us. Are you doing the last game also?
Yes, the Wednesday game next week.
So it's our tune-up.
Well, we've got 2 tune-ups.
2 tune-ups.
Double tune-up.
We should. You've been away too long.
Shirking. Yes, I know. I've been made aware. Here's Gregorio Petit batting for the first time. And bounce foul. Let's just say I've been otherwise occupied.
Well, you've been doing a lot of basketball.
I have.
And you're going to Cleveland for the Sweet 16 round.
Yep. Going to be watching Coach Cal and his Cats try and continue their perfect season. Coach Huggins and his full court pressure try and put a crimp in that.
Who they got?
West Virginia.
Okay. They're surprised.
And Huggins has had Calipari's number over the years. Off the corner, 1-1 to Petit. So that's a lot of fun. But I'll be back in time for Monday, and we'll pretend it's opening day because we have to, We have to gear up for the real thing.
You never know with this winter that's been going on, even though it's spring now. Is it not spring?
It is spring.
Toward the hole. Duda can't flag it down. Here comes Correa around third. The throw by Puello right on the money, and he's safe. Strong throw from Puello, but Correa able to beat it to tie the game.
Very strong throw. He's in way shallow. He really charged hard. Good call. Just got in.
Come on, Jose.
Record just into the game this inning, trying to get the tag down, but Correa just a little too swift. Just got the toe on the plate. So the Astros rallied to tie it with their 11th hit. And now L.J. HOU's batting for the first time with first and third and 2 out. Right past Torres and into center field, and Houston takes the lead. Grossman comes in to score. Back-to-back 2-out hits for Petit and HOU's. And Houston goes in front 4-3.
Well, 2-out rally here. Fastball right down the pipe. Nice level swing up the middle. And Torres not having a good outing again here. A little bit of a struggle for him.
Pitching for the second straight day for the second time this spring. Jerry's Familia, next man up in the Mets bullpen. The first time that Torres pitched back-to-back days, he got hit pretty hard the second day, and that's happening again here. So now 2 on and 2 out with 2 runs home in the 8th inning. And Jose Altuve, who has been the DH the entire afternoon, looking for his first hit. He's gone 0 for 4. And a high strike to a short batter. Altuve, proof of the adage that you don't have to be a big guy to be successful in this game.
What, Matty Alou comes to mind, another batting champion for the Pittsburgh Pirates, a little guy.
Altuve is listed at 5'6", 165.
Pedroia is not a big guy.
Nope.
That's the beauty of baseball.
Remember Freddie Patek?
Yes.
Shortstop for the Royals. He's only 5'4".
I played with a second baseman with the Cardinals. Ted Sizemore was a little guy. Several down the line.
Two and 2 to Altuve. 26 pitches in the inning already for Torres. Not sure how much further they would allow him to go if he can't get Altuve out. Well, Altuve had himself a phenomenal year last year. Won the batting title. Set an Astros team record with 225 hits, stole 56 bases, caught only 9 times, and in over 700 plate appearances struck out only 53 times. So on a team where the strikeouts were prevalent, his were not.
47 doubles.
Just a tremendous year. And he's only 24 years old. Just missed 3 and 2.
Didn't get the call.
Record holding it an extra beat for the young home plate umpire Chris Siegel. So now the runners will be going. 3-2 to Altuve. Reaches for it, pops it up, and Torres says, "I'll handle this." Both pitchers aren't supposed to catch balls. Astros get 2 and take the lead in the 8th.
Sunday, April 19th is a family
Changes for the Astros in the bottom of the 8th. Tyler Heineman is now doing the catching. Matt Dominguez moves from third base to first base. Gio Meyer is now at second after pinch running, and Gregorio Petit moves from second to third. The new pitcher is Will Harris. Matt Dendecker the batter, and he takes a strike.
Well, Harris has bounced around a bit. Came up with Colorado, traded over to Arizona, up and down the last 2 years with Arizona, now with Houston.
Dendecker is 0 for 2, and he takes it high. Mets have had just 2 hits this afternoon, a leadoff double for Michael Kadire in the second, and a 2-run homer for David Wright in the third, and that's been it. Only 1 base runner for the Mets since that third inning. We came on the air talking about the Mets offense and the big-time numbers they've been putting up. This has not been one of those days. Mets came into the day hitting .298 as a team and averaging just under 6 runs per game. Dominguez with the easy play, and Dendecker retired for the first out in the home 8th. Let's check around the majors. Brought to you by Citi. Ryan Howard trying to resurrect his career, his 3rd home run of the spring. Torrey Hunter, was it 39, 40 now?
Really?
Ubaldo Jimenez with a good outing this afternoon for the Orioles. And that is something of what's going on. Big news in Dodger camp with Hyun-Jin Ryu down with a shoulder injury to start the season. Not quite sure how severe it is. With Cesar Puello batting for the first time. So the Dodgers are going to have to find themselves another starting pitcher. By the way, did you see the dust up between the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks again? They've had a lot of those the last few years. Batters hit on both sides. Chip Hell, the new Diamondbacks manager, ejected. A couple of Arizona pitchers ejected as well.
Who was the right-hand starter that had the big brawl? They traded
Greinke, right?
No, for Arizona, that they traded to the Padres just to get him off the team because he hit the guy in the head.
Oh,
you remember?
Yeah. Petit throws out Puello for the second out.
They had really, really bad blood. That was nasty, that throwing match.
Well, it's interesting because, a lot of people.
Go ahead. It was the right-hander that Ike hit the 2 home runs off dead center in Arizona that one year.
I know who you're talking about.
I can't think of him.
It's escaping me.
Yep.
But a lot of people attributed that bad blood between the Diamondbacks and the Dodgers to Kirk Gibson because, Kirk had kind of that attitude. Well, Kirk's gone, and it's still going on.
Dodgers are easy to hate. You know that. But I grew up in San Francisco.
I was going to say, I think
so you people in Brooklyn relax.
That's a deep-seated feeling that you got there. Alex Castellanos batting for the first time. Took over for David Wright at third base. Wright hit a 2-run homer, his 3rd of the spring earlier today. Mets were up 3-0 in this game, but now find themselves behind 4-3 in the 8th. And Harris nips the outside corner with a fastball. 2-1. Lucas Duda's played the whole game at first base. He's on deck. Lucas just trying to get some at-bats after missing the first 10 days of exhibition games. Was it Ian Kennedy?
Yes. There you go, Six. Who in the heck did he hit? He hit someone bad in the head. Remember, it was uncalled for. It was a double. I think he hit 2 guys bad. It was worthy of the brawl that it was out there that resulted from that.
I think Greinke was involved. Didn't he hit Greinke after Greinke had thrown inside to one of the Diamondbacks?
Yeah, and then he hit someone else the same game. Came back again and hit and dusted someone back real close to the helmet, to the head, and that set everything off.
Castellanos, who has already been hit on the hand once this spring, barely avoids getting hit again. Well, he's an interesting guy, Castellanos, who can play a lot of different places. Had some time with the Dodgers, but he hasn't been able to get on track this spring because he's been banged up. Petit throws him out, and the side retired. 3 ground ball outs for Will Harris, and that sends us to the 9th with the Astros up 4-3. Ninth inning in Port St. Lucie. Mets down by a run. Jay Reese Familia will come on to pitch the top of the 9th for New York.
Been a bit of a struggle for Jay Reese. The hits, his velocity has been down. He's been up with his pitches.
Here we go.
They'll take on Alex Presley leading off in the 9th. Presley up for the first time in the game. Took over for George Springer in right field. And Presley bangs the first one out to Muno. 1 pitch and 1 out for Familia. Well, if you saw the Daily News today, you saw an interesting column from John Harper writing about the relationship between Terry Collins and Sandy Alderson. And the suggestion in the article was that there was the potential for friction between the two of them, that communication sometimes is an issue, and that directives are handed down from the general manager's office that the manager has to follow. And it was, it was kind of an interesting story. But to me, what was most interesting about it is the larger issue, which is that the way the game has evolved, so many more decisions that affect game management, who's going to play, how players are going to be used, are dictated from above. And that managers have, let's face it, a lot less power in the game today than they had 20, 30 years ago.
There was a lot more hands-on from the GM. Now, it's been going on forever where GMs and managers have clashed before. Right. Look at Davey Johnson and Frank Cashin. Earl Weaver clashed with his general manager. So that part's fine with me. But in-game, in management of the game and who starts, I think I've always been of the mind that you've got the baseball people, hopefully, down there, and the coaching staff and managers, and you let them make their decisions. But ultimately, the general manager is the boss, and there may be a difference in opinion on a player.
Well, what I'm interested in, Keith, is from a player's perspective, because the manager's job is to motivate the players, make the decisions, the calls, and get everybody to play hard every day. From a player's perspective, does the fact that the general manager has more juice than they used to, does that affect the player's relationship with the field manager?
It shouldn't. Like I said, you're a grunt out there when you're a player. The manager's the platoon or company commander. It doesn't have any effect
it's something out of your control. Now, if it affects you directly, where the GM doesn't like you and wants you out of the lineup, and then, okay, maybe, but it is what it is, and you got to play by the rules or whatever that particular organization, how it works. Some are more controlled than others. But like I said, I remember Davey a lot of times complaining he wanted to play someone, and Frank was pushing someone else. There was always an issue with managers in spring training, the final cuts. Always a manager wanted a player, and invariably a general manager liked the other one, and guess who won out? Always a GM.
Well, and I think I guess the question is where the line is drawn. I think it's always been the case that the general manager chooses the players and the manager does with them what he will. And I think that this is not just true of the Mets. I think this is true of almost every organization now, that, you know, the front office is calling the shots about how players are used, not just which players are on the team.
Well, there's more and more, I guess less. When I played, there was more GMs who were baseball people. And I'm not to say that, I mean, someone like Sandy Alderson's a baseball person. He's been in the game forever.
Well, but also every organization now has analytics departments that are putting out reams of information every day, which, you know, the general manager is using and the manager is using too. And those decisions are being made not necessarily by the managers, but by a team, and many of them are not necessarily baseball people. Those are analytics people, and that changes the dynamic as well. 3 ground ball outs for Familia. We go to the bottom of the 9th in a 1-run game. Coming up on Geico Sports Night, complete coverage from today's Mets game, plus a preview of tomorrow's Mets-Yankees game in Tampa. Tonight starting at 10:30, only on SNY. The Let's Go Mets chant begins as we go to the bottom of the 9th. Mets down a run, and James Hoyt will try and close it out for the Astros.
Well, Hoyt came over in that with Evan Gattis in that trade in the offseason.
Lucas Duda leads off for the Mets in the last of the 9th. Duda's gone 0 for 3 today, grounded out and struck out twice. And Hoyt's first fastball is outside for ball 1.
Looks like a little sinker baller. 6'6", 28 years of age.
John Mayberry on deck to pinch hit in the DH spot. I looked it up, and James Hoyt apparently is no relation to the great pitcher Wright Hoyt.
Hi, James.
Every time I see that last name on a major leaguer, I think of the old story of when Wright Hoyt back in the 30s was pitching for the Brooklyn Dodgers. And a line drive was hit back at him, and he went down in a heap. And Brooklyn accents being what they are, with Wright Hoyt being injured, the crowd yelled out, "Hurts Hoyt." Brooklyn accents aren't what they used to be.
No.
2-2 now.
Hurts Hoyt. Didn't he pitch for the Yankees too?
He pitched for a lot of teams.
Yeah.
Tigers, Pirates.
Yeah, good pitcher.
Yeah, but he's one of those guys who bounced around a lot.
Maybe he
won 237 games in his career. Duda slashes one foul.
Wait, Charles Hoyt. Winningest pitcher for the Yankees in the 20s.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's what it says. So that was during the Murderers Row.
Well, he won 22 games in 1927. That was the big year. You could have pitched on that staff and won 22 games. And Duda down on the slider for the first out of the last of the night. So this is not Wright Hoyt, but James Hoyt with a strikeout.
Down and in slide ball out of the strike zone.
By the way, Wright Hoyt was born in Brooklyn. Did you know that? Went to Erasmus Hall High School.
He won 19 games 2 years in a row, and 21-22 for the Yankees, 18-24, 22-27.
Is John Mayberry up for the first time with Kirk Neuenhuis on deck. And slider out of the strike zone. James Hoyt was undrafted out of Centenary College and was out of the game. He went to work on sailboats in San Diego until he finally hooked up with the Yuma Scorpions of an independent league in 2011. Went to the Mexican League to pitch for Tabasco and finally hooked up with the Atlanta organization after the 2012 season and picked up by the Astros in the same deal that brought them Evan Gattis. Mike Fultonowicz going the other way to the Braves, key in that deal. 2-0, and Mayberry takes ball 3. John Mayberry having a good spring, 31 at bats, hitting .452, a couple of home runs. Takes a strike. Colin McHugh started this game for Houston, gave up a 2-run homer to David Wright, but not much else. He struck out 7 in 5 innings. And the Mets have not had a hit since Wright's home run in the 3rd. In fact, Houston pitchers have combined to retire 15 in a row. Last man to reach was Danny Muno, hit by a pitch in the 4th. Mayberry pulling off that one. That's 3-2.
Behind the count, 1-run lead. Just stay away. Mayberry looking for something middle in.
Three-2 from Hoyt.
Hi, Jay.
7th pitch of the at-bat to Mayberry, and the slider in there. Call strike. Back-to-back strikeouts for Hoyt, and the Mets are down to their final out.
Drops a curve on him, 3-2 after falling behind 3-0.
So 2 out and nobody on, and now it's left to Kirk Neuenhuis, who's been up 3 times and struck out all 3. Mets have struck out 11 times this afternoon. They've managed just 2 hits. And that one skips in and hits the home plate umpire. Tomorrow the Mets are in Tampa to take on the Yankees. Rafael Montero will make that start. Thursday they're in Vieira to take on the Nats with Jonathan Neese pitching. Matt Harvey's next start will be Friday in Jupiter against the Cardinals.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did.
And Neuenhuis held up 2-0. If Neuenhuis can keep it going, Danny Muno would be next. Two and one.
Attaboy, Dylan. That's what I'm talking about. Attaboy.
Mets been out hit today 12-2. They had a 3-0 lead. Dylan G pitched well for his 4 innings. A few too many pitches, was up a little bit. Worked out of a couple of jams, but put 4 zeros up. Second straight time he pitched a scoreless outing as a starter. Now it's 3-1 to Neuenhuis. So Hoyt, who fell behind on Mayberry 3-0 and came back to strike him out, now behind on Neuenhuis 3-1. Kirk looking for a ball he can drive, and he takes the walk. So now the tying run is aboard with 2 out, and Muno will come to the plate. Muno, a switch hitter, who'll bat left-handed. Hit one pretty deep to left field as a left-hand batter his last time up. Muno last year hit 14 home runs. You have to take that with a little grain of salt because that came in Las Vegas where the air is thin. But he's got a little pop for a guy who's not all that big. Muno's a switch hitter, but he didn't come to switch hitting until he was in college. He'd been strictly a left-hand hitter growing up, even though he's naturally right-handed. And he takes below the knees, ball 1. There's a strike, 1-1.
Same spot. Chris Siegel, home plate umpire, was at a big strike zone early in this game and now has decided to turn on Archie Bell and the Drills and a little tighten up in that strike zone.
And that just missed. 2-1. Ball gets loose for a moment. Well, Hoyt retrieves it before Neuenhuis can get any ideas about moving up. Neuenhuis the tying run at first with 2 out. And Muno watches wide, so again Hoyt finds himself behind.
Can't get the last out.
Anthony Recker would be next. 3-1 to Muno. Ball 4. And now the tying and potential winning runs are on base. Back-to-back 2-out walks. And I'll get pitching coach Brent Strom out to the mound. Brent, who pitched for the Mets during his playing career, has become a very well-respected pitching coach. There's quite a Mets flavor on this Houston coaching staff. They've got Dave Hudgens, the former Mets hitting coach. They've got Gary Pettis, who used to be a Mets first base coach. And they've got Brent Strom, who played for the Mets.
Can't remember Brent. The name is familiar. What years did he pitch for them?
Would have been in the 70s.
So I would have been around.
Brent was with the Mets in 72, and then he went to Cleveland and San Diego. So you would have seen him in San Diego.
Yes.
Well, here's Anthony Recker.
Looking to get a hold of one and send the fans home happy. 2 out and 2 on. Mets down a run in the bottom of the ninth. Recker started yesterday in Jupiter against the Marlins and had 3 doubles. He was ill. He was coughing like a madman, and he had his best hitting day of the spring. So hopefully he's still feeling poorly. And he takes one in the dirt. 1-1. Sometimes it works that way, right? When you're feeling your worst, you have your best days.
You're superstitious. Yes, you bear down more. You concentrate more.
Recker had really been struggling this spring till yesterday, but broke out in a big way. Neuenhuis at second, Muno at first with 2 down. Wright really having trouble throwing strikes. He struck out Duda to start the inning. Then he fell behind Mayberry 3-0. Came back to strike him out before walking Neuenhuis and Muno. Now Reynolds would be next. 26 pitches in the inning now for Hoyt. And Recker grounds one down to third. Petit will make the throw across, and that'll do it. So Hoyt able to finally secure the final out. The Mets managed just 2 hits this afternoon. And despite a good start from Dylan G, they fall to the Astros today 4-3.
Well, the Astros came back with a run in the 7th and 2 in the 8th, take the lead. The bright spots today. Dyer continues to hit the ball, stroke the ball well. Got a double today. David Wright, 3rd home run of the year, a 2-run shot in the 3rd inning. But the Mets today, who have been tearing the cover off the ball, only managed 2 hits, out hit 12-2, and they lose 4-3.
Carlos Torres had a rough outing, gave up the tying and go-ahead runs in the 8th inning, and that was enough for the Astros today as the Mets fall to 12-10 on the spring as they are defeated by Houston 4-3. Dylan G 4 scoreless innings. David Wright a 2-run homer as the Mets fall 4-3. We'll come back with more from Port St. Lucie in just a moment.